Hello and welcome back to part 2 of this video. So with part 2, here's an image of the Birkenhead in its full length, an image of the soldiers standing at attention while women and children get on board, an image of the same thing with the soldiers helping out, and this would be the Birkenhead drill executed for the first time. Here is a few images of what the site looks like today. Very unclear, very murky waters at danger point, and it's very hard to find what's what here. Here's an image of an archaeologist just using a grid to record an artifact. Archaeologists noting and recording what looks like a cannon using the baseline method. An image of an underwater camera that can be used to take these images. I just threw this image here to show you that water can be clear and a site could be very visible without anything. And finally, this is just another random site showcasing another ship. Now that we've had a look at a few of the sites, particularly the Birkenhead, as well as what archaeologists do underwater, we began the process. How does all of this come about? So the first thing you need to do is research. Archaeologists begin to research historical records, maps, and documents to identify potential sites. And based on this research, potential sites are then selected for further investigation. Once that's done, you need to get a permit. You need to get a permit from either a heritage organization or association in your country, or even from like something like a university, for example. And once that's done, you can begin your planning. So you need to organize things like a boat, diving equipment, a team. You need to check stuff like the weather, because environmental factors play quite a huge role. And you don't want to pick a day where the sea is rough and the underwater current is just going to be pushing you all sorts of directions. But say you've gotten through all of that and you've managed to organize all that, what are the various techniques and ways to examine a site? And so there's survey and remote sensing. So various remote sensing tools are used to locate potential sites, including side scan sonar. What is that word? I don't know. Magnometers. Sub-bottom profilers and underwater video cameras. These technologies help archaeologists identify anomalies on the sea that they may indicate the presence of submerged artifacts. And so another way is site excavation. And when people hear archaeology, they always think dinosaurs, which is actually paleontology. But when people think archaeology, excavations come to mind as well. And so archaeologists use scuba diving equipment to reach and explore the submerged site. Technical divers may be required for deeper sites, and so you've really got to hire and train people beforehand as well. And once you're underwater, excavation tools such as airlifts, water dredgers, and suction devices are used to carefully remove sediments and cover artifacts. The process is meticulous and often requires a gentle touch to avoid damaging fragile materials. And a lot of the materials are quite fragile because they've been disintegrating slowly in salt water. There's also mapping and documentation. So detailed records and drawings are made of the site and its surroundings. This includes mapping the locations of artifacts and the structure of the site. And this can be done as well through various methods, including the baseline method, which you take a measuring tape from point A to point B, put a measuring tape through it, and on the left and right side of the measuring tape, you get to you form branches essentially, and this can record artifacts that are left and right of this baseline, and the distance as well as this helps basically create a plan for the site. and it's also important to note that not all items or artifacts can be extracted. Most of the items are actually just left underwater on the site. The few that are taken out are extremely delicate, and they tend to disintegrate more out of water than they are in water, and so you need to really take care if you're extracting any items. But if an item is extracted, it will then go for laboratory analysis, where artifacts are studied and analyzed in a lab setting. This can involve radiocarbon dating, materials analysis, and other scientific methods to determine the age, origin, and significance of these artifacts. From there, a lot of archaeologists turn to interpret why certain artifacts were there and what they can symbolize or mean. And so interpretation and documentation. So researchers interpret these findings in the context of historical records and other evidence to build a comprehensive understanding of the site. Reports and publications are produced to share the findings with the archaeological community and the public. And once publications are made, it's important for the public to protect as well as to understand how significant a certain site is. And so preservation and protection of underwater archaeological sites are essential. Conservation measures may include establishing marine protected areas, limiting access to the site, and so certain sites will be restricted from the public while some sites are open, and so anyone could really go and dive there with their own equipment. And monitoring environmental threats as well. And so if there's a certain pH level change in the water, that sort of thing, all those help preserve a site. And for the last part is, how can we improve underwater archaeology? Well, technological advancements. So we could develop and use advanced underwater remote sensing technologies such as improved sonar systems, underwater drones, high resolution imaging. We could use all these to survey and map a site more effectively. Then we have data management and analysis. So implement advanced data management systems to better organize, store, and analyze the vast amounts of data generated during underwater archaeological investigations. This include the use of GIS and digital databases. Conservation techniques as well, so to continue and refine and develop conservation methods and materials to better preserve and protect underwater artifacts and structures. This includes addressing the challenges of long-term preservation in marine environments. We also have interdisciplinary collaborations, so encourage greater collaboration between archaeologists, marine scientists, historians, and other specialists. This kind of team that could happen can bring different perspectives and enterprise to address complex maritime archaeological projects. Basically, we can improve on everything that currently stands with underwater archaeology, like we can improve with everything that exists around us. It just takes time, of course, and it's unfortunate that time isn't necessarily on our hands, because eventually these sites could no longer be there anymore. But it's also the part on the part of the public and the citizens as well to engage with these sites and really interpret how important it can be for the future. And with that said, that concludes this whole video and this two-part series. And I hope you guys really enjoyed learning about underwater archaeology and the HMS Birkenhead. And hopefully I'll see you guys next time for the next topic of conversation.